morning, and so it's good evening to those who have stayed up late to watch us in Europe. I'm James from the European PlayStation blog, and I'm here with Mick Hocking, who heads up some of our best British game studios. But Mick, I suppose you're best known as a 3D evangelist, if you like. So Mick, to start with that, when did you first see some kind of 3D content, and what convinced you that this has got some legs?
We've actually been into 3D for quite a long time, actually. Obviously, we started a lot of years ago making the WRC series of games with Evolution Studios. We've all been massive petrol heads for a long time, and so we developed our own 3D simulators for racing games. And we got a couple of guys in our 3D team who are ex-British Aerospace, been working with 3D flight simulators for, I think, more than 15 years now. So that knowledge allowed us to build some really fantastic quality 3D racing simulators, and then we were really delighted when Sony decided to get into 3D TVs. And of course we were a natural fit for developing some of the first 3D software, so games like Wipeout and Motorstorm Pacific Rift we very quickly put into 3D to try and help encourage internally the whole drive for 3D.
During all that work on simulators, did you always think that the entertainment possibilities in people's homes was there?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, when you see 3D done very well in games, it really adds to the experience. In racing simulators, it's quite fundamental. It can really change the experience to really increase your level of accuracy in terms of your braking points, your judgment of speed and distance. So we knew there was great potential with 3D. We were very surprised when we brought it to lots of different genres of games, just how it enhanced different types of games. We thought initially sports games and simulations would be really where 3D was going to be at, but we've been surprised just how great it's made things like first-person shooters and action games.
So here at E3 at the press conference, it's probably going to flash around on the screen in a second, but they announced the new PlayStation 3D display.
Yes,
it's going to be, I say, like an entry-level model for people to get into 3D. There it is.
There it is.
Have you seen one? And I suppose, what do you think of it? And also, how important is it that we have this entry model and really get more people seeing this content?
Oh, I think it's absolutely fantastic to have a PlayStation monitor. I think because it's 24 inches, it's an ideal monitor for the second room, the bedroom or the office. We can obviously deliver really high quality 3D content with it as well, so we can do full HD 1080p on the monitor, and it's tuned so you can get a really, really high quality 3D image with PlayStation 3. We also have, of course, the unique feature on it of being able to do the special mode, where we can play head-to-head split screen, but not instead of split screen, we can have a full screen each. So you essentially are a left eye, I become a right eye, and we can play head-to-head full screen without seeing each other's screen.
I think it was you that told me about that quite a way back, maybe even a year ago, that was potentially possible, and I always wondered if we'd ever see it come to a game. I've not seen it in action. I mean, can you sort of tell us, is there any compromise at all?
No. I mean, it's if a game can do 3D or can do especially split screen, obviously this is for games that can already do head-to-head modes, then it's simply a case of sending one frame to the left eye, and what we do with the glass is, instead of shuttering left and right eye, we shutter for the left eye only and the right eye only. Yeah, any game that can do 3D, any game that can do split screen, we can easily adapt to support this two-player mode.
And these glasses, these are the new ones, aren't they? These are
the new glasses.
Very light.
Yeah, really light, rechargeable batteries now, so no need to change the batteries in them. They can also, they're more universal than the last set of glasses, so they'll support a lot more display types than the previous glasses. And of course, you've got the special button on these to switch between normal 3D mode and our two-player mode.
Now, what's good obviously going to make, regardless of hardware and technology, it's going to be content, of course, and a lot of people talking about the 3D in Uncharted 3
yes.
at this event. People have been really amazed by it. How much insight into their production techniques have you had, and I suppose what is going to push forward now this second generation of 3D games?
So I think, the first 12 months of 3D for us was all about educating developers about how to do 3D. We have a dedicated team in the northwest of England that is specifically there to help developers develop high quality 3D. And I think it's incredibly important that we only deliver the highest quality 3D experiences. in terms of Uncharted, these guys are sort of almost a second generation title now, the second year of 3D, and the Naughty Dog guys tend to do most things pretty well. And the same is true of 3D. They've come up with a really nice implementation. I know they've taken huge attention to detail in implementing 3D in Uncharted 3, and I think when you see it, you can see it looks absolutely phenomenal.
Bear with me a sec, Mick. I'm going to bring in my colleague Sid here, who I think we've got a question from Twitter.
Hey.
So read ahead, Sid.
Hey guys, a lot of guys coming in on the PlayStation Twitter, a lot of questions about 3D gaming, 3D tech here. Here's a great one for you. Put on your, look into your crystal ball. Here's a great question. It says, how much better is 3D gaming going to be in 10 years? That's a good one. What do you think?
That's a difficult one to answer. 10 years' time, I think we could see a whole lot of new experiences in 10 years' time. We have things like holographic techniques where we can use a PlayStation Eye and the glasses, and we can head track the user to produce holographics, so we can have objects come out into the room with you. I think within 10 years we'll probably see glasses-free TVs that actually work for multiple viewers. Probably the earliest will be 10 years for that. That's still some way off. I think it's also, there's lots of different ways we can interact with 3D. We've obviously got the Move controller now, but you can imagine the developments of these 3D controllers that allow us to control spatially outside of the TV, and we can combine that with things like holographic graphics with the TV, so you can manipulate objects in space. Lots and lots of things I think we'll see in 10 years' time.
The glasses-free stuff is something that people ask about all the time. It's always, ever since it's come out, it's one of the really recurring questions. So what exactly are the challenges, and why don't we have that?
It's very, very hard to do. There are various techniques where you can produce glasses-free for a single viewer. Essentially, the light is being shone to your right and left eyes by either a parallax barrier or some sort of lens technique. But for multiple viewers, where there's no artifacts as you move your head, there's no compromise in viewing position or distance, it's a very hard problem to solve, because you have to send an image to the left and right eye for multiple viewers, not knowing where they are. There are some things on the horizon like integral imaging, which is a technique which may provide a solution to it. There's a lot of research going on, but as yet no one has managed to produce a really good glasses-free screen for the large screen for multiple viewers.
You know, that question was so much better than any of mine. I think, have you got any more from Twitter, Sid?
We got burning questions left and right. A lot of interest about 3D gaming out there. This is a good one. Big E559 wants to know, he says, don't lie, what's the very best 3D game implementation you've seen?
Without lying.
Without lying.
Oh, okay. So in a completely unbiased way, it would be a choice between MotorStorm Apocalypse, Killzone 3, and I think Uncharted 3 representing the latest generation of 3D, and I urge people to go and see it in 3D. It looks phenomenal.
I'm supposed to flesh that out a bit. How do you define what's good 3D and what's bad 3D? Is it the direction? Is it purely the technology?
No, there's several things you've got to get right. There's a lot of basics in 3D that have to be done correctly. It's not just about adding depth to a scene. There's a lot of things that you need to do in terms of constructing your scene correctly, making sure the depth is always comfortable, but there's enough depth so it looks stunning. But there's also a lot of very subtle effects you have to be careful of. Things like fusion zones, which is where you typically have things on the plane of the screen and things inside the scene. If you don't construct them right, the crosshairs in a shooter is a great example, where you're trying to make the eye focus in two different points, and it can be tiring on the eyes. So things like that, or depth conflicts, which is probably beyond what we can talk about now in terms of detail. But there's a lot of very subtle techniques you have to get right in 3D in order to make it comfortable to view. And it's all different for the type of genre you're in as well, you know, for different games.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Mick. It's been a pleasure having you, and I hope you're enjoying the live stream here, and keep viewing.